Oh, hey, Turbs. Oh, there she is. Hi, Pumpkin. How you doing? You gonna say hey? Give us a kiss? Is the little one? I'm sorry. Nothing like the rejection from a cat in the morning to get your day started. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm great. Sorry for moving the camera around so much. Can't help it. I'm excited. It is a beautiful day. It's like 71 outside, just unheard of for this time of year. Kind of. It happens sometimes. The lows have been really chilly. And I was thinking, there's a tiny bit of overcast. This would be a great time for a garden tour, which you already know because you clicked on the video, and I'm sure it has the title garden tour in it. But, you know, I have to say these things because intros and whatnots. I haven't done any prep. There's a rotting banana on the post over here for some reason. Went to assume a family member said, we're not going to eat that one, give it to the iguana. That's probably why that's just sitting there. And that's fine. First, something I never talk about. Look at the view. Minus the gorilla cart and the orange hose. Just look at it. I've been loving this year when I open the door, or even with the door closed. It's just beautiful. I love looking out these windows. The gingers are up doing their things. Got the xanthosoma brightening up the shade from the robolini palm. Everything is awesome. Few messes, but otherwise looking pretty good. Now, there are a few things going on out here. I have some projects and some videos I'm working on, so just don't worry about pottery and stuff you see sitting around, you know, like these roses over here. These are transplants from a video that will be out next week. So there's your little preview or spoiler of some projects I've gone in the front yard. Overall, things have been going very well out here. I haven't been the best about staying up on top of my fertilizing. I did a video about it a while ago and said I was going to do it every single week, and then I haven't. We had a 2-week, maybe 3-week long, just intense heat spell. I'm not fertilizing when it's, you know, between 95 and 105. There's just no reason to do that. And now here we are. It's September at this point, basically. So, yeah, I guess, you know, it's fine. Fertilize a few times. It's better than nothing. Adenidia palm got repotted in a video not too terribly long ago. Dropped a couple of leaves after that, but I think it was going to do that anyways. A few fronds just aged and fell off. It's opening new ones up, so I'm not concerned about that. The sweet potato vine that's in there is taken off, doing what sweet potatoes do and eating the patio. I have these panicums out here. These are Apache rose. Look at the texture, the airiness. They're so freaking pretty. I just love these so much. I'm really happy that I picked these up. One of the reasons I even got them while I was at the nursery is because they're just so full. And look at this container. Look at that. Look at how freaking full that is. It's the kind of thing where you can drop it in a pot and pretty much instantly have something that just looks fantastic. So that's why I have those out here. This one is blocking some of the plants, but I'm okay with it because I think it looks nice right here next to the rotting banana. This banana's not rotten. It's on the verge. It's on the verge. Yeah, okay. Well, no. That's probably... whatever. The iguana will enjoy it. Came in here a little while ago, maybe a day or two ago, and pruned up this xanthosoma. This is a lime zinger xanthosoma. It has been growing like a champ this year. If you don't remember, I got this one from Hertz, maybe, a few years ago. It was during the winter time. And whoever it was I had ordered the plants from shipped them during one of those Arctic blasts. It was like, I don't know, 5 degrees outside, something crazy like that. And I was just thinking, like, why would you ship, like, what you doing? Couldn't you just wait a week? Why did you ship them during that Arctic blast? And they were further north than I am, so it was like, this was stupid. So basically everything in that shipment had died, but I managed to save 2 of the xanthosomas. They're both in here. 2 of the, I believe, 4. And it took a couple years to get them to recover from all of that because it just came down to being one little leaf. After that, it's basically starting them all over again from just a little bit of plant tissue. And it's nice to finally get to see them with some size on them. I love the way they brighten up the shade over here. Just livens things up. I had to come in and prune it though because it was cascading. It looked beautiful, but not really cascading. But it was full all the way down to here, so the succulents weren't getting any light. That my nephew's finally old enough that he can crawl up these stairs, and he kept crawling into them, and I'm like, I don't know what's in there, so we should probably thin that out for him. I haven't talked about this one during the garden tours, which is just silly because it's been growing so well. This is one of the Chimaduria Tepehelito. Might not be saying that right. Something along those lines. It has just been fantastic. I have 2 of them. This one got repotted. this spring, and it has just been growing and growing and growing. The other one has not grown, so I'm going to repot that one because clearly better soil blend is making a huge difference. I have what? I think that one was already there, so 1, 2, 3 fronds out of it. That's pretty good, 'cause this isn't one that grows super fast. They maintain a really slender trunk, and they grow fairly slowly, tolerant of a little bit of sun, but they really prefer some shade. And this is now, I think, my 3rd year with these, and they've just been great. They've been fantastic. I would highly recommend this one as a houseplant. Even the pests, I deal with spider mites and mealybugs, and I've had a few get on here, but once I sprayed, gone. And there are plenty of other plants out here where I can spray and spray and spray and spray and spray and spray. Doesn't matter. They stay full of the mealybugs and spider mites. So that's something I always appreciate. Look at how great the Leucocasia is doing. Isn't it looking nice? I forgot to mic up. All right, there might be some audio inconsistencies here. I apologize. I'm just so excited to get things going. This is the Leucocasia. It's not even a Leucocasia. It's an Alocasia. And the name has totally slipped my mind. Why? Why? Does that happen to you? It happens to me all the time. Pretty much only when I'm filming a video and need to talk about something, and I start to talk about it, and all of a sudden the word's just not there anymore. Lutea. So I was saying Leucocasia because lutea, gold. So the more sun this gets, the more intense the yellow will be on the inside. You see that? This is just a little guy. And this is the 2nd year I've had this one, so it's really put on some nice size. This got repotted, I don't know, maybe a month ago? It seems to be appreciating that. Pop some marigolds into this planter over here. The lavender that was on the table just baked when we had the hot spell come through here. And it must be just all the pavement and everything. It was just too much for it. And I have an umbrella up here, I have half an umbrella, and I had that over it, but it didn't work out for the lavender. I still have it. I've cut it back, but it didn't look pretty on the table anymore. So I popped a marigold in here. I figured just some quick color. I saw it at the hardware store and said, okay, yeah, that's a decent size for a good price. It'll make for a fine centerpiece, especially since we're moving into fall. So some color to go with everything up there. Reoccurring theme for this video is probably going to be me talking about the summer pink caladiums a lot. I did that a lot in the last one. It'll probably happen again in this one, so I'll try my best to control myself. These have been the best caladium I have ever grown. Massive plants. Absolutely massive. The color on them is fantastic. I mean, some of the foliage isn't looking the best from the heat, and some of it's just aging out. But the size of the leaves and the variation, like look at these colors. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And this is beautiful. You get all of that. This one down here, not this one. That's the Aran. That one. All from one plant, and the leaves are so freaking big. These have been performing so well. I'm going to be doing my best to overwinter as many of these as I can. Or just remembering to order a whole bunch of new ones next year, but I'd prefer to just overwinter them, if possible. Over here, the El Nino Catalpa just got one big growth out of it. This thing flowered for me in the early spring when it wasn't supposed to flower, and then it did nothing for a few weeks, and then it shot up one really big lead and no more flowers. I don't know. It was a weird spring. Weather was odd, so plants have done some weird things. Kind of like my passion vine that decided it doesn't need a trellis. Why would it do that when it has a Catalpa to grow up? No flowers on the passion vine. Hopefully next year. That got planted last year, just a little bitty thing. So maybe next year. I'm not that crazy about the passion vine only because it takes a long time to come up out of the ground. It needs a lot of heat. So this thing, I don't think you can push out of the ground until maybe mid-June. Oh, do I see a flower bud? I doubt it. You know what? That's probably a bud from the hibiscus. I have a beautiful hibiscus that's back here. You can see it. In fact, I'll go ahead and pull some of these flowers. Give them to the iguana when I give him the banana. Is that a flower bud? No, that's the hibiscus. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, well, that's okay. It has a trellis, but it decided that the Catalpa was better. It can do that. I'm fine with it. Only because we're closer to the end of the growing season. If it were earlier, I would try and correct that, but it's only got like maybe 6 to 8 weeks of active growth left. It's not going to do much. It's a young plant. If it were doing this when we're a few years older, that would be a problem. Oh, the ginger over here, it flowered and then it stopped and it was beautiful, and I'm sorry that you had to miss it. I don't know what else to say. It looks nice. I would like to remove this ginger, though. It's just too much. There's a door right here. You can't get to this door. There's another one that I'll show you. Well, I'll try and show you in a bit, called Slim's Orange. That stays much smaller. These are Hidiciums, the coccinnium types. They're pretty cold hardy. Here, 6B, 7A. They do very well in the winter times. And that Slim's Orange stays much smaller. It takes a few years to look nice. That's the only thing I've noticed about it, is that, you know, the first couple of years they look pretty scraggly. I was going to dig it up. We'll talk about that more when we go see it. Stay smaller than this one. That'd be a better option for this spot, because you can see the other things are very full over here. These are leftover bananas that are just from a baju that I've been removing every single year. It's too big for this location. The few little pups come up every year, and I just have to cut them back. So that's what that's about. I'm not sure what this is. What is that? Oh, heliconia. Oh my gosh, the heliconia. So many heliconias this year. And they're looking great. This has been a good year for the heliconias. This one is a little bit shrouded. I had to scoot this banana over to make room for this rose over here. These are just here temporarily for maybe a week or so. It just seemed like a good spot, since these are transplants where they'll get some morning sun but afternoon shade, and they're just like right in front of my face. So I will always remember to give these water, because that's something that, you know, it's easy to forget sometimes, and they will die if I don't make sure that they stay moist, because they're transplants. Yeah, the heliconias looking great. They're dotted throughout the entire garden this year. They're all over the place out here. See? It's beautiful. That's summer pink. Look at them. They're so good. There's my foot. That's a 13. These things are huge. Gross choice. That may have done something for some people. Not my intention. The Terra Pink petunias that I put in these containers are great. I'm really liking them. I was on the fence with these petunias, because the whole idea was that they had this more white halo in the center of the flower, but I wasn't really seeing that up until maybe a week or two ago. Really, mostly the last few days, we've started to have some cooler evenings, and I'm starting to see that white. And prior to that, I was like, well, I may as well just plant a Vista Fuchsia or a Vista Bubblegum. But now that it's cooling some, I'm seeing that color in there, which I'm really happy about. The flower seems smaller, but that could just be in my head. I'm not really sure. But it's been prolific. They've been low maintenance. This is without fertilizing, right? I mean, they've been fertilized, just not frequently. My fertilizing is geared more towards plants that want a lot of food, like bananas, gingers, elephant ears, and then my hibiscus and annuals. Otherwise, I don't worry about it that much. And this year, apparently, I just don't worry about it at all. Typically, though, the petunias get a ton of feed, and this year I was like, yeah, I gave them really good soil. There's some compost in there. We'll just see how they do. And they've done very well. This is a lime thyme coleus in here. I don't know if it's called lime thyme. Lime sizzler, maybe? I don't know. One of the Proven Winners ones, and I do really like it, but it's gotten to be kind of out of control. I think it's a bit much. I may come in here and chop that in half. It's blocking my beautiful coconut palm. Look at how great the coconut palm is doing. This thing has been so happy with its repot. So happy. Something just bit my butt. What just bit my butt? I don't know what it was. I felt it. It was like between my shirt and the fabric, and then I pinched my... Oh, well. Yeah, doing great. You know, sometimes with these coconut palms, you'll have them and it's like, oh, they're not doing anything. With a lot of palms, actually, and you just give them a repot, and then boom, they'll take off. And that's what this one's done. Done really well. All the coconut palms that I overwintered last year and made it back outside, there were 2 that didn't make it back out because they had something weird going on with them. I was like, I don't want that around. They've been doing really well. They all got a repot, too. So I think that probably has a lot to do with why they've been doing well. You can see there's an old frond on here from last winter that I could go ahead and cut off pretty soon. I usually like to leave them. If they have some green in them, there's still some green in here. So I'll let that stay for now. But it's been a very happy palm tree. You can't really see what's going on in there. Kinda. That's another reason to cut this coleus back. It's blocking the front of this beautiful container. I have the chenille plants in here, the Acalpha with some Crossandra, Dragonwing Begonia, the only New Guinea impatiens that have survived this summer. I just suck at New Guinea impatiens. I don't know why. I know what they need, but I just don't have the right spots for them, or they don't agree with my drip or something that I do. It's typically, I think what's happening with me and the New Guinea impatiens is that I need to get them planted up early. So if I wait until it's hot outside and then plant them up, that's when they seem to shrivel up. and die. But if I get them planted up early, like these, they got planted up, I don't know, early May, I believe. And they've done okay. They're not flowering because they're not getting much sun right now. The angle, not the angle, but you know, the sun's lower in the sky this time of year, so not as much light back here. So they're just hanging out and being foliage for right now. But those did okay through the heat spells, I think, because they had some time to put some roots out. But if I don't get them in the ground early enough, they just don't do well. But that's the only survivors right here. Radiance Hot Pink, which is actually, that one's still in its container. And this one over here is similar to the Radiance Hot Pink, but I think it was a solid orange maybe? I can't remember. But it's alive, so there's a win. Oh, and the foxtail palm, the star of the planter. I love it. This one, it's just a weird palm tree. It's so full that it's harder for me to really pay attention to the growth on it. But what I have noticed is that when I got this palm, it had a lot of fronds, a lot of foliage that looked like this. Kind of a yellowy color with lots of spotting. And I'm seeing up top, up there, everything that's coming out is a nice, deeper green, solid colors, not as much spotting. I'm sure there's some, but I can't really get in there because it's way up above my head. I don't aim for perfection either. So, I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to keep the plants healthy, right? But I don't obsess over like a brown tip or some spots here and there, but I pay attention to them because sometimes it can mean there's a deficiency or winds, something wrong with the plant, you know, drying drafts when they're in the house. Outdoors, I mostly just look for a deficiency and then try and correct if that's the case, but it's rarely the case. Generally, it's just an aging frond. And this is flushing out with lots of new ones. And I think that once I can come in and cut out all that old stuff, that's going to look so good. A little baby Washingtonia in here. Hasn't done much. This one for Washingtonia has been fairly slow to go. And I don't know, actually all my Washingtonias have been slower this year. And I'm wondering if that's because our temps have been more unstable. Typically, I can plop a Washingtonia into a container and it will grow maybe 2 feet, 3 feet in a single season. I've gotten like 8 inches, maybe, out of that one. I didn't pop it up into a huge container, though. So that can have something to do with it, too. I bet if I were to pop this up into an even larger container than back to some other coconut palm, it would probably take off. I'm in no rush to have it take off. I kind of like it. Just being right there and staying small for now. Oh, the Harrison Strap caladiums. You can see them nicely in here. They were slower to get going than some of the other caladiums. I think they have a really nice texture. I like the way they come out of the corner of the pot here. Something you could have closer to the front of a container right above your speller. And it just adds an extra layer to the trailing that's going on. Look at how great this looks. This is what I was hoping for when I did this, was to have the wire vine with the fern and the colors of the palm trunk and just to see that lushness in there. Doesn't that look nice? I love that. Eureka palm. It's alright. I mean, it's just doing its thing. It needs a repot, if I'm being totally honest, but I just haven't had the time. It's doing okay, but I need to feed it more, right? So if you can't get around to repotting, then you gotta feed the plant more. It has a continuous release palm food in there, but I should probably reapply. And really what I need to do is I think I just need to pull this out, give it a root prune, and pop it back in there with some fresh soil. That would be the best thing to do. I'll try and make that happen. I've been waiting on a huge batch of potting soil that I had ordered, and for some reason it's not here yet. I keep getting freight delay notifications, so it's been like 3 weeks. Because this palm and the mule palm in the driveway both need to be repotted. I'm just waiting on the rest of my soil to get here. At least for the mule palm. I was thinking that I probably wouldn't do this, but I need to. So if I'm going to do the mule palm, may as well do that one too. Queen palm. Oh wow, it's so big. Got a curve in it because this guy fell down and it was lean, not fell, it started to fall. It gracefully leaned on this light pole here. It took a couple weeks to get that thing back upright, and so it started to curve up top. I don't care, I'm not all that concerned about that. It will maybe straighten itself out, maybe it won't, I don't know. But it's doing what it does and growing like a champ. It's just like the croton over here, who's got a little inflow on it right now. Beautiful. I get asked about this one a lot when I do the garden tours, and the usual question is, how old is it? I think that I got this plant maybe in 2016 or 17, I'm gonna say. So we'll say 8-9 years old, something like that. When I got it, it was about 30 inches tall. I want to say, you know, it was a good size when I bought it. So may have even been a little bit taller than that. I don't know. 30 to 36 inches tall. And it's been just a wonderful plant. It defoliates sometimes when I move it back into the house for the wintertime, or when I bring it back outside for the summertime. You know, it'll throw a fit, but they're sturdy plants, right? So as long as you're not overwatering them in cool conditions with little small amounts of light, it bounces back fairly quickly. So yeah, it's nice to see it all fleshed out, because, you know, sometimes I move this one out and the foliage goes, oh man, this is intense, and it'll scorch and some of it will fall off, and it just doesn't look that great for the first month or so that it's outside. But come this time of year, it's reflushed and just looking great. That is also on my list of things that are getting a repot here sometime in the next couple weeks. Or an upgrade, I should say. It's not a well, we'll call it a repot. It's gonna be the same container, but new soil. So, you know what I mean. Look at this guy. They're graphic looking beautiful. It's been done flowering for quite a long time, but it's holding on to that spat, the inflorescence. All the little flowers are done. I could come through and clean all these off, I suppose, but just hadn't really occurred to me as something that matters or that I care about. Fun plant. That'll be interesting during the wintertime. They're generally a pretty easy air plant, but it's just so easy to overwater them. I have to remember to just leave the thing alone and not mess with it too much. And it should get through the wintertime just fine. Everything that I did as an underplanting here in the front has been doing well. The begonias are starting to, you know, not look the best. We're moving into a later part of the year, and they're outgrowing their containers. I could repot them, but I'm like, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze there, because as things start to cool, they'll start to look a little bit better too. So I'll probably just leave those as they are. I have down here the, oh, come on, another word just fell right out of my mouth. Come on. I love this plant too. I've done videos about it. I've been growing them for years. Did I save the tag? Well, I thought it was a goner. This and a bunch of other annuals got smashed when a tornado came through, not directly at my house, but nearby, and blew all the plants over. And I had a whole bunch of flats of annuals sitting here, and it got smashed. And I held on to a little piece of stem, and that's what's regrown. It is a wonderful house plant, so I need to remember to lift that up so I can get it into its own container. Everything on this side is looking great. There was a bamboo back here that was not looking great. It's over there where it's going to get hit by the irrigation on a regular basis now. I apparently wasn't getting enough water back here, so hopefully that guy bounces back. Everything that these are underplanted with has been doing well for the most part. I have the Harrison strap caladiums in here. Those were an experiment. I'd never really grown these before. I go back and forth with strap leaf caladiums. I have a love-hate relationship with them. I think they need to be put in just the right location to look good. Like, it's not something to put in and hope that it's going to have a dramatic impact. It's something you put in as an accent, I think. Like, look at this one over here. You don't really notice unless I get way in there, right? And then, oh wow, look at that. What a nice accent. Adds a wildness. It makes things look more established by having those strappy, dangly leaves in there. I also have the lemon something caladiums in these pots, lemon blush. But the papyrus is growing sideways because, again, the angle of the sun has changed. We talked about that. So the papyrus wants to grow sideways too. I guess I could just cut that back. There's some other grasses growing in that little floaty thing that I think are more than enough to keep this pond. Well, this pond is full of hornwort. So I don't think it needs plants to keep it healthy, but that just looks stupid. I'll probably cut that out of there at this point. This container. Look, we finally have some flowers. Just barely, but they're getting ready to come up here from that Aphelandra. Looking forward to that. I have a Billy, whatever you want to call it, philodendron in here that was just looking weird this spring. The lighting it was getting was very odd. I was hoping that if I put it in here, it might correct itself, and it has, for the most part. It still has some leaves that are mostly the old ones that are just growing in weird positions, but it's flushed out with a bunch of new growth. Look at that orange. I think that's so pretty. It looks so good. And the anthurium that's back here, looking real happy too. I might need to maybe pull things out of here and reset them, because some things have grown in different ways and different habits, and certain things are getting blocked. I have been doing some rearranging, more so over here by the steps, because the angle of the sun has changed. So I've just been shifting things around some, trying to make sure that things are getting the right amount of light and that things aren't getting too overgrown. Because for a minute there was a path about I don't know, it was about this big to squeeze through here because there were plants coming over from right here, and this guy was coming all the way over, and there was a plant right here, and I was just trying to open this back up. I need to do something with that, though. I don't really care for this sitting right here. It's just where it's ended up for the time being. I do like for the spot to be more open so you can see the little baby coconut that's down in here. The agave, this is a Joan Hoke. A beautiful Desmatiana type agave. Look at the variegation on it. Isn't it beautiful? The variegation is actually, right now, kind of subdued because it's not getting a ton of light, but it still seems happy right here. So, well, okay, you can stay. I'm not going to move you. You seem okay in the spot. I'm fine with that. However, it is a pokey plant, and my nephew has been enjoying the steps lately, so maybe I should move it. That's something to think about, because this thing's going to put an eye out. I'll go ahead and move that, but it's looking great. Over here, the gingers. Oh, and the Turbo. Hi, baby. You said you're not getting enough attention. I'm sorry, Turbo. The gingers are just doing their thing. Late to the game, though. Very, very late to the game. These started blooming about a month later than they usually do. But again, it was an odd year. The temperatures were weird this spring, and this isn't a very warm spot. I have the same type. This is a Hideki Flaming Torch. I have some around the corner that you'll see in a bit that started blooming a month before these when they were supposed to, but they're in a warmer nook. So I'm just happy they started going. So I was a little concerned there about, maybe 3 weeks ago. I was like, hey guys, what are you doing? You need to flower. The amount of space you're taking up, you need to do your thing. I had to strap these up. I haven't done that before, at least not in several years. I had to run a stake back here with some jute twine around to hold them up because these were down flat, like coming up from right here. And I think it's because they weren't getting enough water. So this whole area used to be up on drip, and I pulled all my drip out, I don't know, sometime last year. I was having the patio redone, and I had to redo everything, so I've been slowly adding drip back in. And I never put the new drip back in here. So last year they were kind of flat too. And this year they were doing the same thing. And I was thinking, I remember last year, and did the same thing this year. I was going, maybe they're not getting enough light because this heptacodium up here has put on so much size that it is shading them some. However, the Hidekiums can take some shade. These growths that are back here closer to the house, they're standing up on their own. Right? So I don't know. That theory just doesn't pan out. So I'm attributing it to water. They weren't getting enough water. I came in here, this took a long time, and I pulled out the old sprinkler head, that piece of junk right there, and I put in this one, which I know, not very attractive, but it's tall enough to get everything watered. These other pop-up heads that were put in by my irrigation company only come up about 6 inches, and they were just blasting water to the front of this. It can be hard to tell in a video, but the patio's down here, and there's a grade that goes up about 18 inches almost. This goes up pretty high, and over the years it's just gotten higher and higher and higher because I'm always mulching and mulching and mulching. So yeah, it doesn't look great, but as of yesterday, everything's getting a lot of water now. They were getting water before, but I was having to come through with my sprinkler and set it up to hit this area. Better late than never, right? And while I'm over here, I don't know why I have been forgetting to talk about this plant this summer, because it's just the freaking best hardy tropical I think you can grow. Well, one of them. I'm going to show you another one here in a minute that's phenomenal. Next to the ginger, right? I mean, we got a trifecta going on here. We have the Hidekium Flaming Torch, Sorinatum Giganteum, and then a Ferrigerium Colocasia that you'll get to see in a minute. And these are all hardy here. 6B, 7A. We have winters that drop below 0 fairly frequently, and lots of ice, snow, all that stuff. Our winters can be pretty harsh, with a few days of mild weather mixed in, which is nice. Sorinatum Giganteum. Look at these leaves. I mean, look at that. Look at that. It reminds me of like a Veitchii, right? Anthurium. But not, and not as big either. They are late to emerge, so I was concerned this year, and this happens every year, so I need to stop it. But I was concerned that it wasn't going to come back for me because I want to say it was like, I don't know. It was approaching mid-July, and I hadn't seen anything yet, and usually mid to late June, I'll start to see something out of these guys. But this year, it wasn't until mid-July. So that's the only thing, is you have to make sure you know where you have them planted so you don't dig them up, and just be very patient with them. Nice, well-draining soil. They're very sturdy. And this one has, what, 1, 2, 3, 4... That's 5 leaves on it. The only reason I point that is because they typically do 1 leaf per corm. Each little bulb that's down there in the ground usually gives 1 leaf. Sometimes I'll get 2. But if I get a second one, that means it's starting to divide up. So each one of these are little divisions off of that plant where the plant is growing. I think, right? Maybe eat my words. Yeah, I don't think those are coming out of the same one. So this one right here and this leaf look like they're sharing the same plant. This one up here looks like it's coming out on its own. And these 2 down here are probably sharing a bulb. So, okay, 1 to 2 leaves. Maybe 3 per bulb, but I don't usually see more than that. And I just think they look so cool. I really should plant more of these and just fill the front of this bed up with them. Because it's hard to think of something that stays this short and has that dramatic of a leaf that's cold hardy. They don't get any protection. I have them scattered throughout the yard. None of them get any protection. This one gets, I suppose you could say, some protection because these gingers do get a couple bags of mulch on them during the winter time because they're on a slope and that slope is very exposed on one side. But these, not really. They're fairly far in front of that and they're on the edge of a bed too. So they're pretty exposed. And they still look great. So exotic, so tropical looking. This area though, I had to tear it up in order to get the new sprinkler head put in. So what was a beautiful wall of the Tradescantia is now a jumbled mess. And it's not as thick down here because this ginger, up until maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, was hanging over the front of all this. So now there's more light in here. We'll get to see how things do in this spot. I popped those summer pink caladiums in there a few weeks ago because it was bugging me. There was a big gap in there and they did great. There's just two bulbs did all of that. This is a big area. It goes from right here all the way down there. It's probably 5 feet from right there to right there. 2 bulbs. That's all it took. 2 bulbs from there to there. I love that. I have some drip tubing out for a project that I started and then I stopped and now I'm starting it again. Trying to get a drip run. So it'll run back here to handle some containers over there and go around behind everything to handle some containers in the driveway. And I keep stretching it out and then my nephew comes over and I put it away. And I stretch it out and my nephew comes over. So I need to find a couple days where I can really set this out in the sun and get all the spinnies out of it. And then I can get it set up. There are a few spots where the circularness of it, whatever you want to call that, just doesn't want to come out of it. The Crinum Persephone has bugs on it. Does it? Or is that just an odd texture that I've never noticed on the flower? No, it's just an odd texture. Interesting. Never noticed that before, but it's also not something I had paid attention to. There's the flower. Isn't it beautiful? Crinum lilies, crinum, don't care how you say it. So good. Big, lush plants, right? This goes from down here all the way. It's probably 7 feet and about 40 inches tall. And it has, not right now, but it had some flower spikes on it that were like all the way up here. So a good 5, approaching 6 feet high on this one. It's been reliably hardy. There are a few that I've grown reliably here. Persephone's been the most reliable. Ellen Bosquet, the Super Ellen, gets huge. That one has been pretty tough. And then, what was the other one called? Sangria, maybe? No, it's a colocasia. I think it's also a crinum. I'm pretty sure it is. This one's been my favorite. I just love the colors on it, and it puts on a show for several weeks the older it gets, right? Because each clump puts up its flowers and whatnot. So this one, I think this is the longest I've ever had it flower for. Pushing into September, and still got blooms on it. This will probably be the last one. I don't think I see anything new coming up from inside here. Haven't really paid much attention though. There's 2 stalks on here with flowers on them. Pretty sure the rest are done. Setting up their seed heads. I could trim those off, but I don't mind leaving them. I don't think the plant really cares either of these things. They're so thuggish. They'll grow no matter what. They're super tough. Over here. Oh, isn't it beautiful? You see it, right? Look at it. Isn't that just the most beautiful plant you've ever seen? Alright, I know that's dramatic, but for being fully hardy here, I'd say that takes the cake. Whatever the hell that thing's supposed to mean. This is the Pharaoh's Dream colocasia, right next to the Bikini Teeny colocasias. This has been one of my favorite as far as the cold hardy tropicals go for many, many, many years. Until now, and it's got to be this one. The color in this variegation is just stunning. I love the pink that flows through with that white and cream. It highlights it and electrifies it. These stand out beautifully. And the leaf on these is, I don't know, it's got like, right now this is pinched because it's up against another one. Look at, you can see, like, it's more heart-shaped, like it's got chubby cheeks. Like when a hamster shoves all the carrots in its pouch, it's like that, just a big old fat face. I love it. Absolutely love it. These were from Brian's Botanicals. Got them last year. They sent just itty-bitty, teeny tiny little things. They sent me 2 of them because they were so small, which was nice of them. And they had listed it saying that they think that it's going to be cold hardy, but they weren't sure yet. So I said, well, hey, throw it in the ground and see what happens. And it survived the winter. It is in a warmer spot back here, though. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind if you're going to try this in your, 6A, 5B. I would mulch it just to be safe. I have this planted near, you can't see it, but there's a sable miner down here, and that gets a good amount of mulch on it during the winter time, and I'm sure some of that was on top of this colocasia. And I will go ahead and keep mulching it. I'll dump a bag of mulch on that every winter. That's easy enough to do to keep it looking big. Last year I didn't get to see the features of this plant because it was just a tiny thing, remember? So by the time fall came around, it was maybe starting to give me some of these down here. These lower growths, that was maybe the maximum amount of variegation I saw out of it. It wasn't until this year, I'd say about maybe a month ago, that I started to see these leaves that had that really intense variegation in them. And I just fell in love. I mean, look at that. Look at it, and you can see them all the way in there. That lighter color, it draws your eyes back into the shade. So this is a plant where, well, one, I'm hoping it's prolific and it will spread, like the bikini teeny. I planted one bikini teeny, I don't know, a decade ago down here, more than a decade ago, and now they're everywhere. So that's something to remember. If you do live someplace more mild climate, this will eat your garden alive. So keep that in mind. But where I live, we have the winters help knock them back and control them. I hope this one does the same. I'm going to keep them here in the same bed. I don't know if I should, because the bikini teeny, at least this portion of it, is blocking that one. I thought I would leave it for the garden tour so everybody could see what that looks like, but I do think that at least this portion right here, I'm probably going to come in and pull that out. Just, well, for one, I think the entire garden bed would look better without that there. I need to do some cleanup over here so I can get the hose reel tucked back in where it's supposed to be, and that would just make things look better in this spot. I don't really like this kind of growth coming out the front of a garden bed. But the bikini teenies aren't as prolific this year as they have been in years past because I didn't do any mulching in here for the bananas last winter. So any of them that survived, it just had to be because they were really tough. If I had mulched my bananas like I usually do, then these would be everywhere. To a point where sometimes it's too much, right? I like them better like this. And their size this year is impressive. These are way over my head. And the garden bed does go up about 12, 18 inches here, but they're still, I mean, a couple feet up above my head. I don't think they're even supposed to get that big, but I like that. I love that open habit that I'm seeing. In years past, they've pretty much just been like this right here, where I was just seeing the front of the leaves. You could see some stem, but they would be so thick, you really just see the leaves. These, I like it. I like seeing up into them. Look at this one. Oh, look at that. It's got a very pretty inflorescence on it back there, that nice orange color. And then just this towering up above my head. It's a lot with the bananas behind it, but I'm okay with it. So yeah, this entire area, I think, has just been looking great this year. I need to do some work on the cannas. They're too much. They need some control. But other than that, I'm liking the layers and the various colors and everything. This is a very loud corner, I would say. Here's the other flaming torch Hedychium. This one has been blooming for, I'd say, a good month longer than the other one, but again, the spot does get some more heat. So they started going a few weeks before the other ones did too, and you can see they're starting to go out. And I can come in, you can cut these out. So I may as well do that, come in and prune out the old inflorescence. It would look a lot better. And down here, underneath all my drip line, this is that Slim's Orange Hedychium that just this year started to fill out and start to look really good. It flowered a lot earlier than my regulars, the regular coccinniums down here. I'm pretty sure it's the coccinnium too, type. But yeah, I think that it just has dwindled with that because it's starting to get shaded now by this Pharaoh's Dream, and I'm not pruning on the Pharaoh's Dream. That's going to stay like this, so it is what it is, and it's fine. Since the Ferrous takes longer to take off during the spring than that Hedychium did, you know, they take a few weeks. You know, they put up a leaf here and there, and they, you know, they don't do much. Then all of a sudden it gets warm outside, and boom. At that point, this Hedychium's already come up, and then you get to see some flowers, and then when that's about done flowering, this is put on impressive size. I think that's actually a pretty good balance, and I think I'll just leave it that way because of that balance. Look at the size of the leaf. The sable miner's opened up back there. Gotta love that. The dwarf palmetto. Whew. Huge leaves. Those are doing really well this year. They're very happy. Very, very happy. Look at all the seeds we got coming out of this sable miner. It's all the way back there. And it's got its inflorescence sticking out all the way over here on the patio. I think that's so fun. I love the way that looks. It's really pretty. I almost call these gingers. No, the impatiens. They've done well, as they pretty much always do. You may notice something, though. See, there's one little orange one down there, and none others. So there should be 6 other oranges in here, and they got smothered out. I'm very surprised by that, because the orange is usually pretty vigorous, and that's never happened to me before. But there's none to be seen in here. It's just the red candy and the purple candy, and then one little orange that's just struggling to make it down there in the bottom. It's okay. It looks fine. Looks pretty. It can be like that. I'm not concerned. The heliconias that I put in here, they're not blooming very much right now, and that's because the bananas had really come over the front of this. I came in and I cut back some of the bananas, partially because, well, a lot of these are bajus, and I'm trying to get rid of my bajus. I just keep cutting on them, and they just keep growing back. I've replaced them with some, they were babies. They haven't put much size on them, but I have a Unionensis right here and a Bulbosiana over here too. I'm going to try them both in the same spot, mulch them up this winter, and see how they do. The bananas got no mulch last year because I was like, I'm going to get rid of them. And I did dig up and get rid of a lot of them, but if you leave just a little bit of root behind, you still get a lot of bananas. I love the baju bananas, the Japanese fiber bananas, by far the most cold hardy of the bananas that get nice and tall, but they are walkers. They crawl, they move. So you plant at one spot and it takes several years, but eventually they're just somewhere else completely. Those bananas right there, they're supposed to be right behind that Crinum lily. No, they're all the way back there now into the Heptacrodium, and I don't like that. I would like to just have a nice round clump, a nice stand of bananas right where I plant them. So that's why I'm going to try out the Unionensis and the Bulbosianas. I'm no stranger to doing a lot to protect my plants in the winter, and I figure if I'm already doing that for the bajus, why not do it for something that's different and will be more stately, larger, and stay where I plant it. They haven't done a lot, so you know, hopefully they put on enough size this year to make it through the winter. If not, let's keep trying. That's just the way things go. It's how you get things done sometimes. You just got to keep on trying. Especially because you never know what the winter is going to be like either. If we have a really bad winter, it doesn't matter how much I mulch them, because it would probably kill them anyways. Again, I'm 6B, 7A. I was 6B, now I'm 7A. That's why I say 6B, 7A. We drop below 0 fairly often. So by often, I mean almost every year. So saying we're 7A, I don't know about that. So that's something to keep in mind, but those are both varieties. The Unionensis and the Bulbosiana are supposed to be pretty cold hardy. Not like baju cold hardy, but pretty cold hardy. And with enough mulch, I think they'll make it. Front of this bed has started to flatten out as the angle of the sun has changed and as plants have fallen over and smashed some things. So I had the spindle palm sitting in there and a Buddleia pushed back in there. I can't get the Buddleias to grow on the ground over here, but this is the spot where I like them. It's the only spot where I really have enough sun for them. But when I put them in the ground, they tend to rot away, which is interesting because this is an area that I do not heavily irrigate right in this corner. But I think it's just from all the irrigation from the bananas and everything, and you know, the water moves down. So I don't know. So I keep them potted, and they're doing well, the 2 different Buddleias, but they kept tipping over. So things got flattened out there. I have some more roses over here that are from the video you'll see next week where I'm transplanting and moving some things around. They don't look too hot, but you know, they just got dug up, so that's how that goes. They won't be staying there. None of this will be staying where it is. It's just where I had to set some things for the time being. I always forget to stand back and just have a look at the garden from the different angles. Oh, it looks so nice. Adenidia's done some growing this year, and it's starting to grow on me. You know, last year I wasn't a fan of this one. It was given to me, and I was like, it's not really my style. I tend to like them with a really thick trunk with the leaf scars close together, but it's starting to get a bit of a curve to it because of the way I have it planted in the ground. I'm liking it more now. Speaking of sit back and just looking at the garden, I've been enjoying this view this year. The mimosa tree has been flowering since around, I think it was June 12th or June 14th. It started flowering, and it still has flowers on it, and it smells divine. This is the first year I've had this mimosa really perform for me. The flowering last year was pretty good, and the year before that it was okay, and then before that it was just pretty sporadic. And this year it is just going to town. I'll show it to you. I'll try to remember to show it to you from a better angle over there. But I love the texture of the mimosa. Any of the complex leaves on a plant, you can sit underneath the tree and just enjoy that airy nature where you can see through the leaves. They move in the breeze so gently and gracefully, and you have that fragrance from the flowers. This has been a nice place to hang out this year, especially enjoying the view. Like I said, I like to sit back and just take it all in. Bright orange hose and everything. Hello, Turbo. Such a good boy. The hydrangea standards. These are the vanilla strawberry or strawberry vanilla. I can't remember which. They're looking good this year. Last year and the year before, they got a lot of brown on their flowers, and this year, not quite as much. So I've been running the drip longer this year. Not as frequently, but I've been running it longer. And I think that has made a difference. They're supposed to have this weepy habit to them. Unfortunately, it's just what comes with these really big flower heads is they hang down. So that's been bred out of a lot of hydrangeas that are out now. This is an older variety, but what you get with that are absolutely massive panicles. This isn't even one of the big ones. They start off white, almost tripped there. They start off white, and sometimes because of that, when it gets really hot outside, they will crisp up in the sun. And they age with the pink starting down low and get this chartreusey color that almost glows. I think it's so pretty. But again, that weight really drags them down. So they end up having that nice weeping habit to them. I have one up there. It's nice and sturdy. This guy up there, he's on a piece of stem that's just saying, I'm not gonna lay down. I respect that. A nice, strong stem that one has up there. But yeah, look at these. Look at them. And these are actually fairly small this year. Usually they're almost double the size. Some of them are absolutely huge. That one up there is massive. And it's grown off of a nice straight piece of stem. One of the issues that I have with this one is that it's hard to correct the growth on it because the wood hardens off by the time it's time to prune those flower heads off. So it's not like you prune the flower heads off and then they'll stand back up. Once that wood is hardened off, these are like, they're hardened into a weeping habit. So I think the only way to really correct this would be to maybe forfeit flowers for a year and do a prune on it and let everything grow up straight and prune those flowers off and get that wood nice and thick. And then I would be able to get some height on these. And I've thought about doing that, but I just can't bring myself to sacrifice a year of flowers on these. They're just too pretty. This one is weeping more and looking kind of silly because I went just a smidge too far with its pruning this past winter or early spring, late winter. You generally want to take up about a third. I think maybe I went down to about a half. I remember when I was roughly halfway through pruning, I was like, oh no, I think I did too much. And then I evened it out and I was like, well, it just is what it is. It's going to droop some. I don't think that these need those heavy prunings anymore. That's something you do to increase branching. The more branches you have, then the more flowers you'll have on the plant, right? Because they flower at the very end of a branch. So you prune them back. Every single branch you cut, you might get 2 growths, maybe 3 that come out of that. So you have flowers on all of those. I just don't think they need it. These are so incredibly full at this point. I am probably just going to skip pruning on them altogether next year. Maybe. The growth habit on that one's really doing something to me, but regardless, even if they don't have the most beautiful growth habit, I think they're just beautiful. And I kind of like the weepy nature on them. It's just when they start to get that flat top on them, I think they look silly. They look pretty silly. And that's okay. The underplantings didn't do a ton this year because, well, the trees behind me have grown, so there's not as much sun over here as there used to be. And these are weeping more this year than in other years. So not as much light is coming down to the annuals that I planted. Usually, this is just full of blooms. I have sun impatiens, the tiara pink, petunias, some pachystaches. You can see this one's not even blooming, it's not getting enough light. And it's looking okay. This one over here is getting more light, and there's just a little bit more color on it. Not a lot, but a little. It looks like it's getting ready to flush back out with some more flowers, which is great. So I had these planted up with the Tiara Pink petunias, Saffron Finch, and the Tiara Blue. I just wanted to get them all into the same pot to see how they would do. And well, clearly the Tiara Pink that's the way to go. That's not a Vista, is it? I think it should be. That should be a Vista Petunia, the way that thing grows. It's just a thug. That is a tough, strong plant that really has a lot of vigor to it. My bubblegums wouldn't be a ton big. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. A bubblegum for me would usually be like draping on the ground and covering half the pot. But still, that's pretty good compared to the Saffron Finch and the Tiara Blue. Looking pretty good. Over here, the Saffron Finch and Tiara Blue are doing about the same. This pot's not getting as much light as the other one. I like these colors, though. Even though they didn't fill out and do a lot because there just wasn't a ton of sun for them. I think they look nice. And just out of curiosity this year, I had popped some Nemesia in here. And, oh, they're growing. Look at that. Okay, good to know. So next year I'm going to be putting a whole bunch of Nemesia into these because I really like how those look mixed in with everything. And they smell nice, too. They smell really, really good. I like having that extra fragrance out here. The backyard this year has smelled just phenomenal. Between the hydrangeas, which have been highly fragrant this year, and the mimosa, you step back here and it just, oh, it smells so good. It's so sweet. I don't remember, I think it says during the last garden tour, I do not remember the hydrangea trees smelling so good. But I gotta tell you, they're really, really fragrant this year. I don't know if it's always been that way and I just hadn't noticed it for some reason. Sunset has brought out a fragrance in these. It's just, it's a very mild, sweet smell, but the flowers, they're just so prolific that in the morning and in the evening, the second you step out the door or walk up from the driveway through that gate, oh, you're just hit in the face. You can smell it before you even get back here. If you're at the front yard as you're walking towards the back, it smells so nice. The Miami planters doing their thing, looking good. Got some weeds over here. I don't come over here that often because my neighbor's house is right next to me and I feel really awkward down in this area. So that's why sometimes the weeds start to take over. When get those later. Crassandra growing, looking good. Have the variegated Fridex in here behind that canary wing begonia. Look how good that looks. I mean, you know it's not how it really looks. I had to cheat and pull it forward, but you get it. Right? It's beautiful. Love that chartreusey green on the canary wing begonia. The Acalpha hasn't done as well in this container as in the other one, and I was thinking it would be fine because I've grown Acalpha down here before, but they're just getting too much sun. Or they were. They're not so much now. You can see where things have gotten some scorch. I've been coming through doing spider mite checks on things too. This is a Lismachia. It's the Fancifiller Sunburst, and it is just growing and taking over, and I love that. It's so pretty. These are weeds. Those aren't supposed to be down there. These are weeds. I love the way they drape over the container. I think this would look totally fine just having one of these in the front and nothing else. That would look really good. This year I was in a let's do it all kind of mode. Not that I'm not always in that mode when I'm gardening out here. Also using this as an opportunity to pull weeds. Pardon my sloppiness here. It's just part of it. It's a garden. Gonna have weeds. Yeah, look at that. Love the way they drape. So this Lismachia on this side, not as full as the other side, but the Acalpha doing a little bit better. So these Acalphas, when I planted them, they were just like 3 little growths. So I didn't expect a lot out of them this year anyways, but I thought it'd be fun to try. And I do like the color that it adds in front of the pot. The red is good because you have the red up here with this bromelia, the Neoregelia. I think it looks good. The Frydek over here has not done as much because there's nowhere near as much light. I actually think I should probably dig this up and move it somewhere else completely. Farfugium back here, or Ligularia. This is the Ligularia, right? Or is it Farfugium? Pretty sure it's the Ligularia. What kind? Firefly, I believe. It's a great name, right? I think so. So literally, it looks like there's little specks of light on them. I wasn't sure. I thought it might bug me, but it doesn't. I was thinking that might look like a disease, but I really like it. It's kind of trippy, actually. Standing here, I feel like there's little spots of light coming through the trees on them, but there's not. That's fun. Love being tricked into thinking things by my plants make me feel like an idiot. This Crassandra, very full. Another New Guinea impatient that survived. These were the other two. The other two survivors. Not a ton of flowers on them. They're not getting a ton of sun this time of year, but they made it. I said 2 because there's another small one over here in this container. I'll take it. It's a small victory, but I'll take it. Whew. Yeah, so, you know, these things, Calibrax, they just don't do the best when we get a lot of the heat out here. But I hold on to them because typically they start to just flush out and look really good again when we move into the fall. So I think that if I were to come in here and just give this whole thing a nice prune and some fertilizer, this is going to flush out and look really nice for the rest of the season. The whole thing was looking like this up until maybe 2 weeks ago, and it started to flush back out with some color. But prior to that, they did not like the heat that we were having. The heat combined with the humidity was just cooking them. So I've left it because of that. This is a succulent planter that maybe I should move to more sun. I don't know. The echeverias aren't really stretched, and they seem happy based on all the flowers coming up from them. But the sempervivums, on the other hand, like that one right there, that's not doing very well. That's just dead. But the other sedums and a lot of the other semps, their little offshoots, they're doing okay. So it's actually probably fine. I should probably just leave it alone. More weeds back here. Look at this guy, the Erisema. Look at that leaf. Isn't that just beautiful? Never mind the weeds. Don't worry about the weeds. That is a beautiful leaf, isn't it? I cannot wait until this gets some more size and I just have a whole bunch of this filling in this spot here. This is just one little growth that's come up out of the bulb. It's 2 leaves. And that just got planted, what, maybe a month ago? Month and a half ago? Wow, this is a big one. That's a really big one. Get that out of there. Come on, there we go. It's a good thing we have these garden tours so I can remember to get my weeding done. You know, it's a bad sign because it means that I'm not spending enough time walking around just appreciating things. I don't really think it's a good thing when you have to get out the camera to notice these things in the garden, but it's just been the way things have been this year. Yeah, the Erisema. Cordatum? I don't think that's what it was called. Did I save the tag? Let me see. This is a... that's not what... That's for an Iberus. I don't know. I can't remember the name, but it's absolutely beautiful. Really nice when the gingers are coming along nicely up here. These are new this year. New to the garden this year in this spot. This one, I believe, is white feather. And on the other side of the steps, we have silver arrow. Looking good. Put on a good amount of growth. Same with the alocasias in the back, the Borneo giants. Finally. Now, these are plants that appreciated the heat. They were barely doing anything for me this year because we just didn't have the heat. And then it got hot and they went poof, took off. But we just didn't have that much of that heat, which I'm personally grateful for. We had a very pleasant summer with the exception of maybe 3 weeks that were pretty intense. But we didn't have a ton of our in-between temperatures like we usually do, where it's between like 88 and 95. We didn't have a ton of that. We were like mid to low 80s or mid to low hundreds. Not mid hundreds, 90 to 100. There just wasn't a ton of the in-between, and it was a very long spring. But hey, they got up, they started doing their thing. That's what matters. Just want to make sure they get a good amount of growth on them this year, so that they're easier to overwinter also. So let's go back into the grow space in the wintertime. Those can't stay outside. Voodoo lily's looking good, isn't it? This is the Leosong Love the bright color on the stem of this one. Love the way that comes up and just stands out in the shade. I have my elbow monstera spread out up here on top of a tray of soil because I'm trying to root a bunch of nodes, and it seemed like the easiest thing to do would be just lay it down and let it do its thing there. So that's what I've done. Not a lot else to show up here other than, you know, some things are growing. The Peticides, Japonicus, they've really laid down. That heat did them in. That happens every year. They'll be fine. They'll come back next year and look absolutely beautiful. Japanese maples looking pretty good. Here's that other palm I was talking about, the other Tepelito. I think it already had this one. I think it was just opening this frond when I brought it out, so it's grown one frond. Right, so I need to put this into a new mix. That other one seemed to appreciate it a lot. The laurels that are over here, well, that one's dead, if you couldn't tell. It's dead. The container got clogged, and I didn't realize it until it was way too late. So that's what it just, you know, it happens sometimes. I try and stay on top of those things, but apparently the drip just was overdoing it in that spot, and this one wasn't getting enough drip. So I've changed some things up there. I'm going to be swapping these out in a few weeks with something that's better suited for this spot anyways, because the laurels, you know, I've just come to a point where they're just not my cup of tea. I wanted something that was a broadleaf evergreen that would provide a screen for this area, but the cost has been extreme. They're on a berm, so they're exposed, and these are skip laurels. They're supposed to be hardy to zone 5, but these things take a lot of damage in the winter here in my 6B, 7A garden, and that's with protection. These get wrapped in lights. They have big frost claws that go over them when it drops below about 10 degrees, and they still just get destroyed in the wintertime. And it's a lot of work protecting these. So I'm not getting rid of them, but as soon as my backup hedge, which is behind these, as soon as that's large enough, I'm taking these things out. And they could use some pruning and everything. It's just the laurels, I don't know, they're just not for me. For my growing zone, really. I have a bunch of yews planted back here. These are Hicksii yews. They'll go about 8 to 12 feet. It's going to be a few more years till they're, you know, I'd say maybe 6 feet tall. Once they're about 6 feet tall, the laurels are going to go. I would honestly be shocked if the laurels even make it that long. So I'm glad I put that up hedge behind everything when I did, because these are just, they're just so sensitive. I think it's a combination of our soil not being quite acidic enough for them. So I make sure I give them holly-tone in the spring. I should maybe reapply that. I have some more. I can give them some more holly-tone before fall gets here. And it's just too cold. Despite us being 6B, 7A, this is just a really cold spot. This entire side of my yard is much more cold than the rest of the yard. The bananas typically don't do very well over here. I have some gingers over here, some zingibers. They come back every year with a little bit of mulch. Last year I did forget to mulch them though, and still got lots of growth out of them. They filled in this whole area very nicely. So that's good. But the more you go down there towards that end of this growing bed, the colder it is, and you know, things get a little bit more protected right here. Then you move over there. It's just probably the exposure. We're on a hill. Cold air comes down, right, hugs the ground and hits the back of these. Yeah, there's just only so much you can do. And I don't really want things that are that high maintenance. So they're providing shade for right now, or privacy, I should say. And as soon as those yews are big enough, just, you know, keep my fingers crossed that they get big enough before a bad winter takes those out. They do look beautiful. I love the glossy green foliage on them. I like this show that they put on during the springtime, but they have just been problematic. And, you know, these were also field dug. The original laurel hedge, this is a replacement hedge. This is my second go at this, right? The original hedge that I put in here, they were in pots, and they were rooted very well into those containers. These were bulb and burlapped, and sometimes that can take longer to get an established plant when you have a bulb and burlap plant, is what I was trying to say there. And these two in particular, I remember the root ball started to crack when I lifted it and planted them, but this is their 3rd or 4th year now, so they should be on from that issue. The one on the very end down there, I don't even know what its problem is. It just looks like garbage. It doesn't get quite as much light as the others do, and it's, I guess, just really exposed in this spot. Yeah. You know, but they do look nice, other than the ratty nature that they're having because of the exposure to the air and the cold and everything. We're moving on from that. I'm happy with how much the yews have grown, was going to be my theme there, and me just not really caring about the laurels in those pots, because I realized that I don't think laurels are really my thing. So I have some other plants coming that are going to go in those containers that I think will look better too, and be less maintenance. What was I going to say? Oh, look at that Monstera. Gotta look at this guy. He has grown and grown and grown. Look at him. From there all the way up into the tree. I can't even get up there. It's too tall. I need a step ladder to get up there to see its top growth. But it's looking good. This has grown a whole bunch of foliage this year. Very nice. That's the Thai constellation. I've had that one for years. Oh, and look at how nice the hosta's flushing in. This is a woo-la-la. Got planted this spring. And it's just now starting to put out some growth that I think is respectable. Hostas, generally, for me, at least the first year you plant them, don't get much out of them. It's just typical perennial behavior, right? So I'm just happy that this is giving me a nice flush. And I really like the foliage. Look at how glossy that is. I even had to come over and touch to make sure that wasn't like, you know, honeydew. Like it wasn't from some kind of pest pooping all over the leaves, making them shiny, because that can happen sometimes. I like the color palette that's played out in here with the impatiens, and it's going to look really cool when this bamboo, it's a clumping bamboo, a rufa, fills in the spot, and I have that sunshine elysium back there. We'll see how it does. If the laurels haven't fared all that well over here, then I don't know how that's going to do, but I wanted to give it a try. I'm going to spread throughout the garden. I also added in this leatherleaf viburnum in the springtime, and it's starting to accept its new life. Oh, look at you! Cool looking bug critter that doesn't want to focus. Come on, focus, focus. I want you guys to see him. Oh, he's cool, but the camera doesn't want to show you. Weevil? I don't know, it's pretty big to be a weevil, but weevils, there's so many of them. Could be. He's neat looking. I love a leatherleaf viburnum. Pretty much evergreen here. Their foliage tends to get a reddish purple hue to it in the wintertime, and it does curl and then lay flat, but then pop back up. And that's all I was going for. I want more evergreens out here, so it's going to help add some privacy to the spot. It's put on some good height this year. I think this is, you know, maybe down here. So I got maybe 8 inches out of it. That's pretty good. I want it to fill in this whole spot so that I can't see any of that anymore. And if it doesn't do that because of the shade from the maple, I have another bamboo planted back there, another clumping bamboo to fill in that circle. And it's looking pretty good. Hi, baby. Hello. How you doing? What is this? Oh, this is the Chicago Lesser Viburnum. I think it might be my button bush. I have a button bush that I haven't planted yet because I haven't been able to make up my mind as to where to put it. But it's not over here. I think I'm going to put it behind the mimosa tree over there. I think it would look good. I love the luster on the Chicago Lesser Viburnum. It's a nice looking plant. Everything right here, these are all plants that are going to be going into the ground, I don't know, probably October, November. These are for fall planting. These are junior giant thuyas. So they're like a green giant, but they stay smaller. They don't get as wide because this is going to be a backup hedge to my backup hedge I'm going to put along this fence line here. It'll be interesting to see how that goes because, you know, anything that's within the drip line of a maple, I've noticed, at least in my yard, just doesn't do well. They do not. I have an entire shade garden I tried to plant underneath the maple tree on the other side of the yard. Just looks like garbage. It's up on regular irrigation. It's just, the maples just, they pull all that water out. So it made it being in a regular hedge because the lighting is irregular from the trees, and then there's going to be some differences in water, but I'm doing it. And it will just probably be really tall and beautiful in some spots and really short and weird looking in other spots. It's going to be weird looking anyways for several years because these guys are just little babies, but they're fairly quick to grow. Look at the stingray. This guy's done great this year. All two of the alocaceas in this spot have done very well this year. The stingray doing its thing. I love the stiffness you get on these stingrays. The leaf is pretty big too. Got a nice big leaf on it, and they do look like stingrays. Fun plants. And then the golden dragon or golden bone? Golden dragon alocasia. I mean, come on. Isn't that just an absolutely stunning leaf? Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This one, which I showed in the last garden tour, the entire leaf bleached out into this yellow color. And I was concerned, but it's putting up new growth, and the new growth isn't doing that, so I guess that was just a you thing. Apparently this one needed to be unique. The rest of them, they're not doing that. Look at that. So these have that yellow veining like the lutea that I showed earlier in the video. It's even more intense with more light. That yellow becomes much more apparent. I just think these are so pretty. So pretty. And I was hoping that this would pan out while having this planted with the Enset Morellii, the red Abyssinian banana, right behind it. And I think that it has. I really like the way those look together. It can be hard to plant a lot of tropical looking plants and not have it look contrived. And this, it looks a little bit, but I don't think too much. I think that things have naturalized and filled out in here very, very well to a point where it looks like they've been here for a long time, right? Working with fast-growing plants that are adaptable, right? The caladiums, sweet potato vines, those things, they fill in, add a lot of texture and boldness, and then more fine things, just tucking a palm tree into the corner. This is another one of those coconut palms I was talking about, and it's just been growing wonderfully this year because of the repot. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 new fronds out of it this year. The mealybugs are going to be an issue this year. I've been finding them not so much on here, which is great. Oh, maybe down here. Yeah, there's some down here. I think that they are all over this hibiscus. I think I might just be done with this hibiscus because it's been a mealybug magnet for the last few years, and largely on this dang vine, and I can't find the base of the vine. I keep pulling on it, and then 2 weeks later it's back and it's all the way up there, but this vine has been covered in them. So I think that that's been the host plant that's really attracting them. It's a problem once the sun comes off this area, moving into fall. In the month of August, we lose an hour of light here. And that's all it takes. Then all of a sudden the mealybugs start to take over on the plants that really just don't apparently like that change in lighting. They become not as healthy, and then boom, they're attacked. So at least it's staying in this area. And I don't have a lot of flowers over here either. So I don't really see a reason why I can't come in here with my neem and just go to town. As long as the pollinators aren't out. With the vine, I just need to rip that out. I don't want to spray the vine because the pollinators love that vine. So that's something that I've done a little bit of work on with some spraying. It was a cicada. There's something buzzing around up here in the Alexander palm, which is looking awesome this year. I mean, look at all the growth. And its crown shafts, they're all swollen and happy. All I did with this one was I did the palm fertilizer when it was delivered, and then I top dressed it with a whole bunch of land and seed compost, and that's it. It's had, I think, 3 fertilizings, and it's grown better this year than it ever has. So I actually think that it has appreciated not having the extreme heat, other than, you know, that like 2 or 3 weeks that I talked about. But otherwise, it's been happier, which is good, because last year it was looking pretty scraggly from all the heat that we had out here. Here's the other coconut palm. So this is the third one. And again, 1, 2, yeah, all the same. Almost 4 new fronds on this one just from getting a repot. They didn't do much growing last year, so that's why I was like, you know, I think it's time to bump them up. And I did, and they're looking great. I love a coconut palm. They're so cute, just like Mr. Freckles, who I keep saying I'm going to cut back because it needs a prune very badly, and I just can't bring myself to do it. But I am going to do it. I need to do it. It's going to get done. I'm waiting on some materials because I would like to root a lot of the stuff that I cut off of it. By some materials, I just mean I'm out of cloning paste. So once that gets here, I'm going to cut it back. You really don't need a cloning paste for crotons. They propagate so easily, but time is precious. And I would like to get them cut and rooted before it's time to move the plants inside, so that I'm not moving cuttings into the grow space, because that's just a whole other thing to take care of, like to really have to stay on top of. I would like for them to have the humidity and everything outdoors. They just root better and faster outside with the warmth. And there's warmth in the grow space, but it's just not the same as being outside with the humidity and the changing temps. They just, I don't know. The plants know when they're outside, and they just do better outside. I prefer to root things outside. Or, you know, a greenhouse type setting, maybe, but, you know, I'm just waiting to get that done. Everything else is pretty much just business as usual. Mother and daughter croton got a repot this spring because it was looking a little sad. Put out a lot of new growth. It's called the mother and daughter because it has this fun little dangly bit that comes off the ends of the foliage. I think it's really cool. Same thing here with the variegated Dracaena reflexa. It was on the struggle bus. Gave it a new pot, some new soil. Fill them back out. Looking really good. Orchids are doing well. And the gingers over here, they're up on drip. So I haven't really had to mess with them very much. This thing, my gosh, I just keep pulling at it. This has been a thing all summer because it's a very snappy weed. See, I can't get it out from the root. All summer I've been battling that weed, and it keeps getting thicker and thicker because I keep pulling at it. This is my pride and joy Alpinia, the one with the giant leaves on it. Look at that. Those leaves are so freaking big. Not as much variegation as the regular, just like typical variegated Zirumbit variegata. But the leaves are so big, I don't even care. I just love these really big paddle-like leaves. It's getting so full. I was hoping for flowers on those this year, but it didn't happen. So that's okay. It's what it is. The Lespedeza thunbergii. I almost removed it. Talk about it. Every garden tour. I had removed it last year, actually, but not enough of it, and it came back. So I put some stakes in the ground, and I tied it up so that it's not draped. It usually hangs over the patio to about right here. So this is just, I think it just looks nicer. It's more airy. The pollinators love this plant, so I didn't want to fully get rid of it anyway, so that worked out. There's usually bees and butterflies and hummingbirds over this thing, and it smells nice. There's a very, it's mild, but a very mild, sweet smell that comes from these flowers, and it puts on a show in the late summer into fall when nothing else is really flowering other than that heptacodium, which is why I love the heptacodium, because it starts flowering when everything else is pretty much done. This is the same thing. So you get that color, and I love the way you can see through it in there. I think that looks good. That worked out well, just pulling it up and pinning it back instead of fully removing it. I like that. The green stalks, these things struggled through that heat spell that we had. I had tucked them back into the shade, but I don't think it was quite enough So I've come through and I've cut a lot of the mints back. I think pretty much everything in here just needs to be cut back by like 50%, and it should flush back out. These things, I don't know if you know, if you have a green stock, they take an eternity to water. You fill this reservoir up and you think, oh, well, it's not that much to fill. No. I timed it. It takes about 4.5 minutes. I have terrible water pressure. Keep that in mind. About 4.5 minutes for me to get this filled up. There's a line in here. So as you're filling it, it waters too. So there's water coming out as you're doing it. And I know 4.5 minutes doesn't sound that bad, but there's all these other plants out here. So I haven't been watering them every single day over the last month like I should be. But I don't care. I haven't wanted to. I haven't had time. And they're doing well considering all that, I think. But they do need a cutback because everything's kind of growing out of control over here. This is that pineapple sage. I don't know if you've ever grown the pineapple sage. Oh, it smells so good. Most of everything that's in here, it's just herbs. There's some strawberries up here. Those go to the pets. I don't really eat the strawberries, but they enjoy the iguana and tortoise. They snack on those things. Same thing with the snapdragons that are down here. Those are food. They get fed to things. But I'm loving the Greek oregano. One of my favorites. The thyme, it's just regular English thyme, has been very good. And then the spearmint and peppermint have been like my absolute favorites. That's what I use the most. I use them in tea. I add them to my tea. Not the oregano. Oregano, I do oregano-y things with. There's also a basil that I thought I would try this year, and it just isn't doing it for me. Where is it? I don't even know where it is. It's a puny little thing. I started it from seed, so yeah, here it is. Look at it. I mean, what a... It smells nice. This little thing smells great. I think that this would do better if I were to pull it and put it into a container. It's an Emerald Towers basil, so it grows upright. And I was thinking, well, that's perfect for a green stalk, something that grows upright. And it has been good, but everything around it wants to grow down. See that time? Yeah, I need to prune that. That looks terrible. The mint is growing over. I didn't even have mint planted in here. The mint came in and smothered out something else. Oh, it smothered out the occassional. Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, this is the Emerald Towers basil. I think it would just do better in its own container, so I'm going to pull that. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I have a whole bunch of clay containers, stuttered there, over here that I've been sealing so I can do some transplants and move some things around. And one of those is for that basil. The crabapple planter over here has the Petunia Vista Cool Jazz in it, and I'm really liking the color on this. I wasn't sure if I would, but I do. It's a very nice, cool pink. It's a calming and cool. It has a cooling effect, is what I'm saying. It's not brightening your face. It's tranquil, and I'm enjoying that. I have some Kupfias that are in here that showed up. I ordered them. They weren't looking too hot, but they are just now starting to spring back. So they're flushing out. I'm really happy about. Gorgeous sweet potato vine. Can't remember the name on it. Can't remember the name, but I think it's one of my favorites. It'll be out next year. It's from Proven Winners. Same thing with the New Gen Independence Boxwoods that's back here, and a Neofast Barberry, and then the Feather Falls Carex in this pot. It's only been maybe 3 weeks at the most. No, it's been maybe 2 weeks at the most since I planted up the base of this crab apple. No, this is not Royal Raindrops. Colorburst crab apple. Yeah, I think that's going to look nice. Hydrangea. I decided I didn't want to bloom this year, so I don't like it anymore. All right, here's my others of the sweet potato vines. Shadowlands. Shadow Storm. Yeah, Shadow Storm's the name on that. Ipomia. Beautiful, isn't it? I'm thinking I might put two of these in the planters on my front porch because I have some mangaves in the centers of those pots, and it's just not working. I don't think I can keep those mangaves there. We'll go look at those in just a second, so I can show the hanging planters on the front porch. Here's the other crabapple. This is the Royal Raindrops. So pretty. I've been enjoying looking out the window, and you just see a hint of that purpley foliage. Some new growth coming out too. You can see the red up there. With all the green from the maple in the background. I wasn't planning on keeping it right here, but I've really been liking it. This hasn't been planted up yet. I'm still waiting on some plants to show up. So these are just things that are in here chilling. But it's kind of an idea of what's going to go in here. Yellow twig dogwood, Feather Falls Carex, and then some other evergreens that can take more sun, because these crab apples will be going right here and right there for the fall through early to mid-spring, whenever the palm trees come back from the greenhouse. If you don't know the big palm trees, they'll go to a greenhouse during the wintertime. What would I do with these, right? I mean, there's nothing I could do with that. There's nowhere I could put it. There's a service here that'll pick them up and take them away and bring them back in the springtime. That queen palm, also, I'm going to put it over here next year. That one that's over here with the curve in the trunk. I have fully made up my mind on that. It just blends in too much over there, and it's hard for them to get it placed over there. So next year, there's going to be a queen palm where that Adenidia is. The Alexander will stay there, and we'll just have 2 palm trees flanking the pathway. I think that looks pretty cool. I don't need to have a giant palm tree there. I mean, I have plenty of palm trees, so that's not an issue. But I think even just having the croton in there would be beautiful. Those are all thoughts for next year, but, you know, thought I'd mention it before I forget. Okay, wanna go to the front porch? Can you open the door? Can you do something? You earn your keep, please? Okay, a lot has happened out here, and it will all be in next week's vlog, so I'm not going to go over too many of the changes right now. These planters had some coleus in me. There's still some coleus in that one. This one over here still has a bunch of the coleus. It was too much. The coleus was all the way up here, and I couldn't handle it. It was driving me crazy. I know some people like that look. I wasn't into it. So the plan was to add in these gorgeous begonias from the Southern Living. These are Sterling Moon, I believe is the name on these. Beautiful begonias, but it turned out there's not enough room in the pot, which I didn't realize I'd already pulled the coleus out. So I just have the container just sitting there. It's just sitting there, which is fine. It'll do. This time of year, I'm not going to be adding much of these pots as it is. You'll see them next week. In next weekend's video, you'll see how full these were, and it was absolutely beautiful. But also just driving me crazy. It looked sloppy, so had to do something. And this is, to me, it's just better. Drip's running right now. Look at this Ipomia. Isn't it just beautiful? I absolutely love the color on this one. I think that is so, so pretty. It's red, but it's not a loud red, because there's some brown, some purple in the tone. It's just stunning. Next year, I will do the same thing, but I will do probably a green, like Sweetheart Caroline. That's a red bud. Carolina Sweetheart, whatever. I'll do a green Ipomia mixed in with these, or do these Shadow Storms, maybe, even. That might look nice, right? Tuck that up there. I don't think that's going to stay there. Here, just try and look at it. How's that look? I think a nice bright green would be better. I was thinking I might take these, though, and pull the Mongaves out of these pots because they're not getting enough sun. Everything's grown so much. And just drop one of these in the front of each pot. I think that would look nice. Okay, and then this is a spoiler. I pulled all those roses up that you saw in the backyard, and I replaced them with drift roses that are going to stay much smaller and spread out and fill in this area better. That's why I have all those roses and pots in the backyard. And then I added a heavy layer of mulch. Just wait. This area was a disaster. So I'm going to show you. I had to pull a tree out. There was a tree here, too. A lot of stuff happened. So that'll all be next week. Look at how big this begonia is. This thing is, that's a 22-inch container that this is hanging in. So from here, it's a good 4 feet easily from side to side on that dragon wing. Not as much growth out of the Ipomia on this one. This sweet potato vine, not as much growth because this side doesn't get quite as much light. Just like my backyard, my front yard, one side gets more sun than the other. What are these called? Mahogany something? Yeah, it's just a Sweetheart Mahogany. That's what these are called. The Sweetheart Mahogany sweet potato vines. I really like them. They're very, very, very pretty. Yeah. Nice. I think that's everything. It was a long video. Probably should have split this into 2 parts, but well, I didn't. Here we are. That's fine. That's fine. It's gonna be what, an hour and 20 minutes? Hope you enjoyed. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on out here. I have some more of those Ipomias up here. You can see, just not getting enough light. So I think I'm going to give this basket a twist so that red one will get more light. Also, this queen palm, we'll talk about it at the end of September, maybe mid-October, but it's got some issues. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Comment down below. How are your gardens doing? Are you starting your fall stuff? I am. The cool evenings, they have me into it. I'm ready for fall. As much as I love summer, I don't know. There's just something about those crisp, cool mornings and nights I'm really enjoying. I didn't used to, but I don't know. In my 30s, apparently I like things more cool than hot. Never thought I would have said that. I always used to love the heat. And I still like it to be warm, but just, not 106 degrees with 90% humidity. Oh, Look at this guy too. So this is a leaf from the Thai Constellation Monsteras that I got on clearance for $15 at Lowe's a couple months ago. And it has just been growing like a weed out here. I think this was the biggest leaf it had on it when I brought it home. And it's opened up, I don't know, just 2 more. But they're massive. And no, I didn't repot it. It's still in its coconut, which is fine. I'm not going to be one of those people who are like, oh, he saved the plant. It's fine. Just don't overwater it. And the other one is, well, it's hiding back there. This is my rehab garden area. Yeah, this one's got some good size on it too. Look at this leaf. That one's cool. That's its newest one. Yeah, so I think that this one was that big when I brought it home, and it's got all this on it now. So cool. Oh, and the Japanese maple. Need to talk about that. Almost lost it. Was concerned because when we had that heat spell, it just shriveled and cooked. I put in a new sprinkler head that's going to irrigate this area better, and I'm seeing new leaves, which is a huge, huge, huge relief. So this just got planted this year. It hasn't had a chance to put its roots down, and the ground up here drains very, very quickly. There's a lot of drainage rock in here. There's drains that run along this entire wall throughout here. So that was something that I had to combat with the irrigation to really make sure it stays watered well. And I dropped the ball apparently, but the new irrigation seems to be working out. Very, very relieved by that. I've been babying that thing because I love that Japanese maple, but when that heat came through, I was like, oh no, I don't know how it's gonna do. It's first year in the ground and that spot gets a good amount of sun, but it's coming through. It's being good. It's gonna look nice next year. Okay, yeah, I said I was gonna go. All right, as always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye bye. No. Forgot. I said I'd give a better look at the mimosa, but you can't. The flowers aren't that apparent this time of day. You can sort of see them up there, kinda. Well, when I was filming would have been a great time earlier, but I forgot, and then I remembered that I forgot. But you can kind of see them. They're, I guess, hiding up there. It doesn't take that many flowers to make things smell real nice. It smells really good over there. And the plant that I couldn't remember the name of, I remembered it. Since I'm already adding in a clip at the end, may as well just say it instead of have to find that spot in the video and type it in. Pseudoanthemum, black varnish. The more sun it gets, the more dark the foliage is. There's that darker foliage right there. So I'm going to lift that, get into a container, because it makes such a nice house plant. They're really pretty. I don't want that to go to waste this fall. None of that matters, because, well, there's still another, at least 1, maybe 2 garden tours left before the plants are going away. So anyways, that's all. Like I said, okay, bye-bye.